Hey guys, it's Danny's Review and I'm back. Have to pay out some content here. I see a lot of people doing Banlist predictions. I didn't really want to do any because there's so many out that come on, an next person and doing a Banlist prediction, but I need to get some content out and I guess it's free content. So um these will be my Banlist predictions for the Banlist that should maybe, I don't know, drop this week, the week after, so maybe before Natch. Last season done, you know. Um, okay, cool. So, for my forbidden section, I would like to see number 89, Diablosis, the Mind Hacker, ban. Um, it was never seen in any deck before, to my knowledge. Um, but since Casteria came out, it kind of looks like Casteria was like built for this card because it just fits in like, you know, bread and cheese, peanut butter and jam. It just works with the deck. So because of this card, it is very powerful in the deck. It helps for the deck to do the 5 zone lock and the 3 zone lock. 5 zone lock being very, very overpowered in the sense that you could lock out the spell and trap zone, and certain decks can't do nothing without the spell and traps. Certain outs just useless. So making it like the side deck very much edited because of this. And even the main deck and the extra deck heavily edited because of this deck, using this card that is so OP in the deck. It's like that's very powerful for a deck, a card in a deck, making you have to edit your extra deck, your main deck, and even your side deck, playing against the deck. That is very powerful. That is very powerful. The deck itself is not tier 0, but that is a very powerful option the deck has. And a lot of people, I'm sure, would be very much happy to see Diablosis gone, ban. Go on line with all his ban brethrens in the XYZ pile. Because it has some other XYZs, they're inside that ban pile. Alright? So, for my another card to be banned, I have, this one is tricky. I used to always say branded expulsion should be banned, because what is the sense of banning all the targets that it could special summon to your opponent's side of the field and floodgate them out? It kind of reminds me of, I think it's, I call him Needle Fiber, but Halky Fibrax. Yeah, a whole bunch of tuners getting banned for one card till finally he was banned. Yeah, this reminds me of that. But now Konami has released a card called Albion, I think Sanctifier Dragon. I don't know if I said the name correctly. Excuse me if I butchered it. But it does the same thing as a trap card. But instead of without the course of tributing a fusion monster, it just targets 2 monsters in the either graveyard and special summon one to each field. And it cannot be targeted, I believe, by your opponent's card effects. And it's during your opponent's turn, not to say it's during the main phase. So you could just hit it a kaiju, and that is the end of that. Because they have to wait for you to, do something to respond. No, it's during your opponent's turn, so even in your standby, even in your draw phase, this could be done. So with this now, branded expulsion does not really look like a card that should be banned now. Rather than not, the targets that Albion and the branded expulsion could special summon to your opponent's field when sent to the graveyard by branded fusion will have to be the sacrifices for this deck. And that would be Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. And I would also include DDD Ortros. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that one properly, but they both have a lingering effect that does not activate when one special summon to the field. So because you give your opponent these monsters, they lock them out of certain plays options. With the Gimmick Puppet, they cannot special summon nothing but, I believe, Gimmick Puppet monsters on the whole. And with the DDD monster, you can only special summon fiend monsters your rest of the turn. That is still very much powerful, even if you get rid of the gimmick puppet, because against certain decks, there are no fiends in their deck. Like, let me say, Super Heavy Samurai, they're all machines, basically. And purely, they're fairies. They have no fiends in the deck, you know? Or even old decks like Sprite. They don't really play fiends. They a bunch of thunders, some fish, you know. Yeah, beast, no fiends. So it's like that is very powerful still. So I don't think much players use it, but those two compared to the other targets like Ibli, I believe is what's the next one? Raz Disciple, and even Ido. I can't remember the full name, but those other monsters could be outed with things like Dark Hole, you know, um, yeah, like things like Dark Hole, because those cards only apply while they're on the field, and it have other things to can out them, but compared to Gimmick Puppet and the DDD, those who activate, they linger for the turn, that is unfair. And the only pull back then with the trap now, you could have only stopped it with, I believe, Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, or maybe even DD Crow, you know? But now we have the fusion monster plus the trap. If they could even do the both in the same turn, it's like, wow, 2 ways to bring back cards. So it's like, best just get rid of the targets until the deck itself gets paying some more check. So that's it there for branded. That's branded. That is cashed here in the ban list. And that is my take on the ban section. This is really a hurry list too, because this is honestly just what I really see as problems. Maybe I may overlook certain things, but I don't really see much problems with every little thing, except for cards that are very difficult to deal with. On to the limited section. So now I have a lot of people may not agree, but I have Kashtira Unicorn to 1. This is a 1 card starter, one of the 1 card starters, and one of the butter and bread pieces in the deck. It looks into your extra deck. If you happen to activate a monster effect, most likely a hand trap, if you didn't negate with impermanence or effect failure, or even remove the body like with Nibiru or Kosoga. It looks into the extra deck. Manage any piece you would like. Helps for the XYZ to, lock zones. But mainly the consistency card. I have this card on 1. The deck, I would believe it got 2 formats now. And the deck itself is very powerful. Even if Diablos is gone, the Rise Hard Pass with the Walking Macrocosmos and Banish is still very powerful with hand traps or back row. And a lot of decks are being kept in bay because of Rise Hard. Like anything to do with the graveyard, can't play. For example, the Elements. Can't even see its way just because of this deck. It done already crippled to the point of wow, could barely even stand up, but it's still a powerful deck and it can still play, but it can't play with a Rise Heart in this format. Being so consistent. So for that not to be so consistent, it really needs to, that play needs to be decreased a bit. A lot of hand traps are also dead, like Effect Failure, Draw Unlock Bird. If it happens to be there in the top deck, it's not useful. Kosoga is gone. You can't use that because you have no graveyard. Any other graveyard decks, there's no graveyard. Even old powerful spell cards like Forbidden Droplets is like useless in this format because you can't pay cost because you can't send to the graveyard, so it's like useless. That's to tell you how powerful a Rise Heart is. We don't already have 3 Macrocosmos, 3-dimensional fish. We don't even see those cards being used so often. A Rise Heart is just alone so powerful, and equipping cards as materials and banishing one each turn. Very powerful. 3000 attack, 3000 defense. Attaching materials from the extra deck that are banished by prosperity. You know, making it undestructible or have interruptions when it's destroyed or removed from the field. This deck is powerful. So just to allow some other decks to have some kind of space to breed, we have to hit the consistency of the deck. I believe it's 2 formats now, and it's a good time. You could hit it now, but not murder the deck. Now, on to the next limit of the deck. I have Pressured Planet. Right, so please, I don't know if I pronounced that properly. I just call it the Cashteria field spell. But that's the next card I believe should go down to 1. Because consistency again. If it can't consistently do so, it will have games where it has to more depend on 2-card combos. So making it fair or less resilient to hand traps, and less consistent of doing the Rise Hard pass. Because if Diablos is gone, that is really its play. The only other play I can see is making 2 XYZs, rank 7s, or maybe 1 rank 7 XYZ and Fenrir and Unicorn. Which is still good with some hand traps or backer, but not to consistently do so. And with hand traps being more prominent in this format, things like Drone and Lockbird being very powerful, it could, you would have 1 field spell, 1 unicorn, and 1 terraforming. So opening the terraforming or the field spell makes you more prone to being Drone and Lock being a very much powerful play against you compared to just opening the unicorn, which you can still at least get one of the spells to play through the Drill and Lockbird. So with 2 out of 3 being more prone to being drilled, it makes the deck less resilient to hand traps. And that's my take there. Now, it have another card called Cashteria Fenrir. This is a very powerful card, but in its own deck, it's not a 1-card starter to me. I play test and play the deck online, and Fenrir is more like a 2-card starter. So by rights, I would not want to put it at 1, seeing that is, a 2-card starter kind of card. I think it should be remain on 3. Even if you open that and it gets hand trap, it doesn't banish anything because there's nothing on the field going turn 0 as you go in as a first turn player. But because the card is so great as a tech choice in a lot of decks, just like how Dino Wrestler Prankotops was, it is way better than Prankotops. It could special itself going first or second. It could search itself, and instead of destroying cards, it could banish cards. Of course, Prankotops could destroy any card, face up or face down, as Cashteria Fenrir could only banish face up, I believe. But that card is so powerful. See, now Prankotops was restricted to 1. It is only right and fair because it's been in, it could be in a lot of decks in either side or main. It is only fair that it goes to 1 because of that, not because of its own deck. Unicorn in its own right should go to 1 because of its own deck. But Fenrir has been in every deck. Possibly it could go in. Yeah. It really helps break boards. It really helps bait cards. It's a powerful card. I believe me, it's powerful. So I would not want to pay it as my limited list. But because of that splashability, it deserves to be put to 1. Other cards that I believe should go to 1. I'm moving on to one of my favorite decks. I use it, I play the deck. I'm moving on to Sprite. Sprite should go on this list, and those cards should be Sprite Starter and Sprite Jet, just like how the OCG did it. A lot of people would debate and say Sprite Blue should go to 1. But just for me as a Sprite player playing the deck, in grind game, I would believe Jet is more impactful of going to 1 than Blue going to 1. Because what Jet searches, spell or traps. And you have the options of 1 Sprite starter, 1 or more of Sprite double cross and Sprite smashers. And if you only have 1 Jet, that's it. When you use it in your, let me say you go first in your starting combo, you most likely you go for smashers or the double cross. And after that, that's it. Your follow up grind game. If your opponent breaks the board and you have to, go on to the next game, sorry, next turn, you have no Jet to search. You're just going for blue going to get what, a red or carrot or pixies to kick down something. A lot of players don't even play pixies, but with the less monsters and starters, it would be forced to play pixies as extenders and 40k. And even with I think Gamma Burst, Sprite Gamma Burst, I believe that increases all the attacks by double, and it has a graveyard effect increased by 1400. Those cards have to be searched by Jet. If not, you have to hard open them, and hard opening is not a consistent way of doing it. So Jet going to 1 is more effective to the deck in grind game, the follow up, than Blue going to 1. You're just searching a red or a carrot, and you have to tribute a monster, a link to rank 2 XY, level 2 for the negation to go through to be paid for cost. So it's still going to go back down to 1 monster, because Blue will get an extra monster, and then when that uses the effect to tribute, it goes back down to 1 monster. It's like a trade. So as a Sprite player, I'm telling you, Jet going to 1 is more effective than Blue going to 1. But that is all I have for Sprites. I believe just like OCG, let the deck play with 1 Jet, 1 starter. And a lot of decks would probably use the deck as a engine. But yet alone, the deck is still, play to a point. It might not be as how it used to be, but you have to mix with other decks, and it more likely be an engine, if not a main deck with support of other engine. Maybe even Super Heavy Samurais, I don't know. Tri Brigade. Yeah, the Tri Brigade done already using that as an engine with minimum package. So that's it for start Sprites. Now on the limited list again, I also have Runics now. I have a lot of people more believe Runic Tip, I believe, should go to 1. But I believe Runic Fountain should go to 1. Being so is, every card, Runic Quick Play spell card, can turn into a Hugin, and Hugin can turn into a Fountain. That's a lot of cards to find Fountain. Tip is just one of those. It just directly skips Hugin and goes into Fountain, or any card you would like. But I would say, searching a card is more powerful than drawing a card. But this card draws up to 3 cards. And that's very powerful. Drawing on your own turn and your opponent's turn, that's a lot to deal with. Especially, it have interruptions on the board like Naturia Runic with the Baron and the Naturia Beast. That's a lot to go through. I think more likely Runic Fountain should go to 1. I have that as 1 on my list. Every card could turn into a fountain, but with 1 fountain now, you have to conserve that fountain and protect it more than ever. And when it does go to the graveyard, if not banish, they have Jerry to recycle it, but we have DD Crows, we have Ghost Spells, we have manners of stopping that, or impermanent or effect within Jerry. So it's a little more susceptible to hand traps. Jewel and Lockbird is a very powerful card against the deck, but imagine they just open a Runic Fountain, activate it, then use Tip to get whatever they need. They use any Runic spell card, quick play spell card. Get one in the grave, use the next one, get one in the grave, comboing off. And they say, let me draw 1 or 2. And you then say, chain Jewel Unlock bird after the effect of drawing, and they could chain Runic Tip and get a search before the Jewel Unlock bird. So opening Fountain opens that option, but now if Fountain is not like consistent to open, you have to search it, and that is where you have to go into the Hugin, and the Hugin have to pay cost of discarding a card, and then you could hand trap that card. Or even if they get the Fountain to hand, you could draw on Lock bird then, and then have no drawing on their turn at least. And if they have the tip, they have to chain to that Jewel Unlock bird. But Runic, just with the explanation I explained there, the deck even as an engine would still be consistent. So Runic Tip should also go to 1. I have that on my list as well. But if I had to choose between the two, Runic Fountain would be more my choice. That drawing 3 up to 3 on your turn and your opponent's turn, that's too powerful. I'd rather lead them with a 1 search if I had to choose. Also, Blaster, Dragon, Ruler of the Infernos. OCG put that to 1. We do have that on 1, so it's going to come to 1, and it's just going to be there. You see if it, be used. Just like the other, Dragon Ruler monster. And also we have Skill Drain. I have Skill Drain to 1. Like, trap decks don't really bother me too much. There are a lot of back remove with it. But Skill Drain is a powerful card. It could be played through to a point. It's a powerful card. Not a lot of much decks use it. I believe trap chicks don't really use it. I think more Runic players may use it here and there, and other decks. But I don't know. To me, it should be on 1. That's a card that is really powerful, and that alone could win games. But knowing Konami, I don't really see much problems with it right now. I haven't been seeing too much of lists or decks with Skill Drain doing much, so it may not go to 1. But it's a card definitely on my list. It should go to 1 in a timing. If not now, later down the road, especially when it's more prominent. But that's it for my limited list. I have no cards on semi-limited. I have my unlimited list now. It's very short, and this will probably be close to the end of the video. I have Performer Palm Monkey Board. Pendulums ain't doing nothing. Like, you can go ahead and put that in 3. Yeah, full combo thing. A lot of hand shots going on now. You can make Baron before 5 or on the 5th summon with Monkey Board. But like, during that combo, if you're trying to make Monkey Board is into a Baron, you could just ogre the monster, try to special the Monkey Board from the Pendulum scale onto the field and synchro it. And at the end of that, and that's how to play through the rest of the hand traps. So yeah. I don't really see that, a problem. I believe Potter Desire should go back to 3. It on 2, I'm not saying nothing, only certain decks play it. Really, because, you don't already a cash to your hair out here, banishing your stuff, so, a good portion of the deck going. So it's like, Potter Desire and not looking good. And the deck wouldn't be gone forever, so like, it'll be weakened. But it'll still be around, so Potter Desire is not every deck will be playing it. Especially with, we need combo pieces and stuff to actually for the deck to function. Now, I have something I would call a little twist. Something I would call Cards of Chaos. It's like, I would believe 2 cards off of the Forbidden List should come off just for a test run for a format. Let's have some chaos. And, see people have fun with these cards again, and most likely they will probably be problematic and should go right back on the list after that one format. So that's why I call Cards of Chaos. This is my special section of the list. It's not real, but I think Konami should try this. Now, of course, they wouldn't make a section like this. They would just put it on the list as a limited card. See if it causes a problem and pay it back. Most likely it will cause a problem. It's a card you choose that cause a problem, but not too powerful. But if it doesn't cause a problem, then yeah, you can keep the card. And my 2 cards of Chaos, I was thinking 3, but 3 is like a little too much. Let me just leave it at 2. My 2 cards of Chaos are going to be honorable mention. These are 2 cards of Chaos. Orcus Harpora. A lot of Orcus people begging for this card to come back. Super Heavy Samurai could really have a field day with this card. Lunar Light Orcus could try a thing. Orcus Pure could try a thing. Mekk-Knight Orcus could try a thing. A lot of, decks could come back and try a thing. That is one of my cards of chaos to come back for a format and see if it really needs to go back or not. But most likely it probably would have to. And my next card of chaos shall be Thunder Dragon Colossus. Yes, Thunder Dragon Colossus. A lot of people are going to say no. No! I don't want that back. No adding. Floodgate. Protect itself. But there's so many cards to all these cards. It will create, certain deck building, certain side patterns, creativity. And not the engine, the thing in common with these Thunder Dragons and Orcas, the engines itself is a bricky. Like, Horror is a real consistent card, but Nightmare and the Wand, bricky. Even down to these skeletons, sometimes bricky. Bricks. Cause bad hands at times. The Thunder Dragon package, a lot of them are high level bricks. Unless they're not a monster smash with, dangers and stuff like that, but then they will be highly weak to drill or knock bird, And even self, we have Kaijus running amok, Santa Claus running amok, maybe Forbidden Land, Forbidden Jobless may come back, Imboom, Now usually Thunder Dragon Colossus will be by himself, but I could see cards. It wouldn't really be with this hand trap format. It wouldn't be a consistent thing to happen, but it could cause some chaos. And if it's really doing that good, it just go right back on the list. But give the Thunder Dragon players, and any Monster Smash players, the Orcus players, Monster Smash players, Lunar Lights, Mekk-Knights, give them a little format back. Let them enjoy themselves for a format, and if anything, they go right back. If not, they stay there. Because OCG have Thunder Dragon Colossus, so it's just there. I think they had half power for a time. I'm not even sure if they have it or not, if they still have it, but give us a little thing, man. Oh, I would honorable mention. I would like probably maybe branded fusion to go to one, but with the release of its new support and branded fusion being ultimate rare, I believe in one of the OTS packs, the latest OTS packs. Maybe not. They wouldn't touch it. They'll allow it to just stay for our next format, and maybe later down the road they'll pay it. To one. But knowing Konami, they need to make the money in the sales. I don't think they'll pay it to one. So I didn't bother to pay it on my, my limited list. But I'll pay it as an honorable mention. And that's it. That's me. That's my take on a Banlist prediction. Very long, sorry, 20-something minutes. But that's me. Till next time. Laters, guys.